See if anybody's on here right quick. Going live. Listen, when you see this, man, just understand I'm recording episode number 94 of the podcast. I think I'm going to name the podcast Buy a T-Shirt. I'm here in the White Room on the north side, right down the street from where I work. The White Room ran by my man 3, the Pentagon Houston on IG. Y'all make sure y'all follow him. I'm doing my promo video for the new year here. I'm going to record my voiceovers here. You know what I'm saying? So I'm going to get ready to do this podcast in a second. Listen, it's all about perseverance, okay? I was supposed to have a guest tonight. You know, long story less long. Things happen. You just got to keep pushing forward. This is episode 94. And like I'll say on the podcast, it's dropping tomorrow at 6 p.m. You know what I'm saying? Nothing's going to stop this train. Nothing. So if you're watching, shout out to my nephew. He just got in. Shout out to my man, KOC Go. Listen, shout out to Haley, TCE in the building. I see you. You know what I'm saying? This episode drops tomorrow, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Let's go. What's up, Haley? Haley, I hope you in school. I hope you in school. I hope you in school. I hope you're doing your work. What's going on, man? I see people in the live. Maybe I need to do this a little bit more for the podcast. You know what I'm saying? But I got to have somebody hold the phone for me because I can't podcast and do this. But listen, I'm going to get, I'm going to, look, everybody's joining the live. What's good? I don't normally do the live joint like that, but, who's calling me, John? What's good, bruh? I know you are. Oh, man. I'm gonna just play all of this on the podcast before I get started. Listen. This is the What's Next podcast, Houston's #1 platform where I invite creatives to share their journeys and give us a depiction of their visions. Most importantly, the last question I'll ask is, what's next? Courtney, brother. Houston, Texas, episode 94. Countdown to 100 episodes of the What's Next podcast. It's your boy, John Ross Dike II. I'm doing a live stream as we speak. I got the Overtoast record playing. Shout out to the nice guys. Houston, Texas, let's go.
Yo, I feel like Sachi on my body.
Yeah.
Biggie, jigger, puffy.
Yeah.
That ballin' is a hobby.
Yeah.
I'm wildin' in my wallies. And them valleys, no Pilates.
Houston, Texas. Houston, Texas. You know, the Clubhouse app say, give them a backstage view. So I am, I got my phone up because I am also doing a live on Instagram right now. So something new for me. I got to open up the market a little bit. Listen. Hey, Smooth, when you coming to the podcast, man? What's good? I've been trying to holler at you. Listen, I'm going to holler at you after this podcast, man. I'm going to holler at you after this podcast. Stay close. Hey, DM me your number. I'm going to holler at you after this podcast. Because I got to talk to you, dog. You doing big things in Sunnyside. Oh, man. Hey, y'all. Ooh, I got so many people on the live right now. It's love. Listen, I'm going to close this live off, man. Let me get this podcast out the way. Peace and blessings, y'all. Yo, Houston, Texas. Houston, Texas. Where was I? Welcome to the 94th edition of the What's Next podcast, a production of Still Visionary, Inc. This is a creative story. 94 episodes in, countdown to 100 episodes. Before we get started with the episode, I want to introduce my social media handles so I don't disrupt the flow of the conversation when we get to that point. You can follow me on Instagram and on Twitter at John Ross Dike and still_visionary. If you would connect with me on LinkedIn, subscribe to my YouTube channel, like my fan page on Facebook, and visit my website at stillvisionary.com. That's STILLVISIONARY.com. Directly in front of you, I have all the merch that I sell on this podcast out the trunk of my car and on my website, and you can shop stillvisionary.com/merch. Listen, most importantly, let me get into it right away. Most importantly, I have been on the Clubhouse app, not like I need to be, because last episode I said that the Clubhouse app was the way I was going to become undiscovered. But I got some insecurities about that app, right? And I'll talk about that if I can remember to do so in this episode. But from the Clubhouse app, I figured that it was time for me to start an IG page for my podcast. And if you would, please follow the What's Next pod _ That's THEWHATSNEXTPOD _ Follow my podcast IG page so that I can allocate who are my audience or who is my audience. But yo, listen, welcome, man. Countdown to 100 episodes. It's getting tough. And the reason why I say that is because this is the holiday season. And last year when I was rounding the end of the year off after missing 7 weeks of the podcast last year, I rounded the year off at episode 45 with my lovely wife, God Is, which is now playing on my website, well, on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. But I've said to myself, I want to do 100 episodes this year. I want to get to 100 episodes this year. And as I've rounded December, it's been difficult. Had I not missed those 2 weeks in May during Mother's Day weekend for some boneheaded stuff I did in my personal life to my wife, then I'd have been a lot closer than I am now. But here's the thing. You got to take it in stride. It is what it is. What happens, happens. And so I didn't do 2 episodes that month. I did 2 other episodes later on in June, maybe July, and I am here now. But, I wanted to get to episode 100. And on the Clubhouse app, people had said that they were making pages for their podcast, and you need somewhere to exclusively hold people and have them there. And so I decided, I'm going to make an IG page for my podcast. So listen, like I said in 93, I opened it up to talk to my top 5 listeners, but that's neither here nor there. This is a message to everybody watching this podcast. Yo, that page is not for everybody. If you're not a routine listener to my podcast, it's okay not to follow that page. I don't need followers on that page. I want followers on the page, but I want those people that I can surely rely on to spread my message, to spread my podcast, and just to expect every Tuesday I'm dropping. Every Tuesday I'm dropping an episode. If I have to get on here and shoot this shit by myself, right, I'm going to drop an episode because I have goals to get to this 100th episode. And in 2021, I want a whole different setup. Not necessarily what you see in front of you, but, my mics and, just mics for my guests. So that was my goal. I'm not breaking any of that out until I get to episode 101 or the top of the year. Episode 100 or episode 101 or the top of the year. You know what I'm saying? So, with that being said, I have to understand that, I cannot rush it. You know what I'm saying? I cannot rush it. I have to be patient. But at the top of the year, I'm breaking out the new artillery. It's time for y'all boys to wake up. You know what I'm saying? I can't be using the same equipment that I see other people using. That's just, you know what I'm saying? That's just, my podcast is light years ahead of people. You know what I'm saying? And the reason why I'm on that type of energy is hold on, did I find that video? Wait, hold on, don't leave me. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Don't leave me. Come on now. Where are you? Where are you? Oh man, I lost the video. Dag. I lost the video. If I can find it. The reason why I'm on that type of energy, I had something that I wanted to play. Dag. I can't find it. Let's see if I can find it. I apologize, y'all. I apologize. I had a video that I wanted to play. Well, let's see, posts. Let's see if I can find it here. Oh, man. Dang. Oh, man. Well, I had a video. It was a Mike Tyson video that I wanted to play audio for, but I can't find it now because it just disappeared off my phone, and I lost my train of thought as to what I was saying. Right? Hold on. Let's see if I can find it. Give me a second, y'all. And let me see if I can go back and remember what I was about to say. Right. Oh, I can't. Okay, hold on. Let's see. Is this it? No. Is that it? No. Hold on. Is that it? Oh, Lord. He's falling over. Oh, man. Come on now. That's not it. Y'all lost my train of thought, man. But what was I saying? Anyway. Okay, well, I lost my train of thought. It's all good. I had the video. I should have really saved it, maybe even shared it to my I should have maybe even no, I don't want to delete it. Cancel. Share to IG. There you go. Done. Next. Oh, no. I don't want IGTV. I want to share it to my live video ended. Share to IGTV. Okay, well, maybe I'll share it. Episode by A T-shirt. T-shirt. Okay, and I'll add it later. Oh, that was supposed to go to my story. Oh, anyway, it went to my Facebook feed. But yeah, man. So episode 94, countdown to episode 100. I was supposed to play this Mike video that was gonna basically it was a video of resiliency, toughness, hunger. And I was watching it in the parking lot, getting ready for the podcast when my man 3 pulled up. Oh, excuse me. 3 pulled up, and I told him, hey, my guest left. And I said, hey, man, I drove so far anyway. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna record a podcast. I drove this far anyway. I'm gonna record a podcast. Right? So what should people take? Listen, in my quest to 100 episodes, I don't want the quality of my podcast to dwindle, right? But I think that, sometimes, it's understandable that your goals, even though you don't meet the initial goal, you can still set a goal from the failure of not meeting your initial goal, right? So, my goal was to make 100 episodes this year, make it to the 100th episode this year, because I wanted to talk about this new brand that's brewing up in my head, right? I wanted to make it to the 100th episode. But if I don't, it's okay. But one thing that I won't do is, and it's funny because I was watching, I watched the numbers of the podcast, of course. I watched the numbers. And, when I brought my wife on, that episode always, anytime I bring my wife, post my wife, it's always going to do well on social media. It's always going to do well. So, Leandre Prince's episode did well, numbers-wise. My wife's episode did well, numbers-wise. My siblings' episodes did well, numbers-wise. So did Narika's celebrity chef Narika's bowls did well on YouTube. And then I had to sneak in, right? And I had to sneak in and get a little bit of that action. Didn't go so well. So today I've been kind of shaky about doing the podcast because, um, you know, there's always a possibility, and I've been on the podcast and said that my podcast is predicated on the fact of having guests on here. That's how I bounce my ideas off of people. That's how I'm able to get people's stories and relate and drive home messages, right? But this is what I had to realize, and I might have to play it twice. Hold on, let me see this. I might have to play it twice. Here we go. This is what I had to realize.
Imagination, and that's what I use when I make my music. Without no imagination, man,
Right.
you're not making up nothing, and that's what poetry is all about.
Right.
It has a lot to do with thought.
Right.
And Queensbridge is always in me, but I'm just putting down
Queensbridge.
whatever I'm thinking about.
Nasty
It's
Nas.
life experience,
Right.
written down on paper,
Right.
and then made into albums. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because it's like you talking about everything you're going through, and as you grow, you learn it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And each album will be the different experience. It's all about experiences. I mean, I got an imagination.
One more time.
And that's
One
what
more
I
time.
use when I make my music.
Right.
Without no imagination, man.
Right.
You're not making up nothing, and that's what poetry is all about.
Right.
It has a lot to do with thought.
Right.
And Queensbridge is always in me, but I'm just putting down whatever I'm thinking about.
Right.
It's life experience, written down on paper,
Right.
and then made into albums. You know
Right.
what I mean? Because it's like you talking about everything you're going through, and as you grow, you learn it. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And each album will be the different experience.
Right.
It's all about experiences.
Right. Right. Shout out to my girl Melly. She sent me that video. She know I'm a big Nas head. She sent me that video, and it was a Mike video and a Nas video that I was looking at, and I started to think to myself, man, I was out in the parking lot, and today I was like, man, at work, the virus is trying to catch up with me. I keep ducking it. I keep ducking it, knocking out the way. It's trying to catch me. And thinking, man, is this episode, is this going to be the week? Is this going to be the week? You know what I'm saying? Is this going to be the week? Do I have enough material, enough people lined up? Have I prepared enough to get people, line people up to make it to that 100th episode? That's what I've been thinking, you know what I'm saying? And so I had to say to myself, you know what? If you don't make it to 100, it's okay, JR. Right? It's okay, because you beat your goal from last year, and eventually, you'll get out of this bracket. But at the top of the year, you've done enough work in 2020 with the pandemic and being able to survive through that. You know what I'm saying? And coming on the other side of the pandemic, it's not over yet, but you cut your hair, you're back flowing. You know what I'm saying? So all you need to do is just make it to the top of the year. You make it to the top of the year, who knows? Who knows? Who knows what's going to happen, right? But I had to play that because that's what it's all about. I have to play that, and when I played it the first time, I had to stop telling myself, this podcast is not predicated on the people you bring. Because if nobody comes on the podcast because schedule conflicts or they're not feeling you, or, you just have not organized enough, does that mean that you don't drop an episode? That's what I said to myself. Does it mean that you don't drop an episode? And I was like, nah, that ain't gonna happen. I gotta drop, period. It just is what it is. I gotta drop. So I want to play the Nas snippet, right? For me, the word that will always define me as long as I'm doing this podcast and have not reached the level that I need to be on, through the support of my watchers and listeners, is undiscovered. That ain't gonna change. Listen to episode 93 of my podcast, Undiscovered. What song's on my mind? The song that's on my mind, I was listening to a Nas mix. I just shuffled all his albums. Songs on my mind is My Way. Always. It'll always be My Way. And, that's one of the records that I talked about the first episode I did of this podcast. before I had a better structure. Then, like I do now, the structure then wasn't really just finite. It wasn't really just there. But then the song that was on my mind was My Way, right? Yo, you know that mic thing, I really needed that video and I won't be able to find it, but watch, when I get to the crib, I'm gonna find it. Let me hit my man. Let me see what he doing. See what my man doing right now. See what my man doing right now. See what he doing. Gonna answer the phone right quick. Yo, Wanza. Let's see what he doing right now. If you don't answer the phone. Oh, man. Oh, man. Run Your Race. Episode number 81. Run Your Race. Run Your Race.
Please leave your message.
I don't want to get that number out. Run Your Race. If he call me back, he call me back. So, listen. The episodes in December were catered to this one specific thing. With this brand I got coming in episode 100, right? Or the last episode of the year. I'm going to drop an episode on New Year's Eve. So let me stop saying episode 100. I'm going to drop an episode New Year's Eve at noon. New Year's Eve at noon, I'm dropping episode whatever, right? So I'm going to stop saying 100. If it's episode 98, it is episode 98. Doesn't matter, right? But December was catered to people that I've been watching throughout the year sell merchandising. And let me tell you why. Let me tell you why. Okay. The reason why I say why, let me get a sip of this Bud Light. Is that a sponsorship? This episode is being brought to you by Bud Light. Drink responsibly. Is that the episode? Is that it? No, I don't think that's it. Or is that the one did he say? I don't know. So, being an artist, an actor, podcaster, I have grown tired of watching movies, TV shows, listening to radio, downloading albums. I've grown tired of it because there's a small part of it, of myself within the small crevices of my heart that believes that I should be there, right? And so, with that being said, that's almost like reaching for the stars. You know what I'm saying? That, you know, becoming a box office actor, getting to that point is like shooting for the stars, right? So along that course, because when I started my acting career, I was fed, you know, shenanigans like, yo, you can be discovered from this joint. You can be discovered from it, right? And this is before I understood what promo was, but I understood what marketing was. Before I understood all of that, I was being fed that, yo, you could be discovered from this play. So I think it was, and this actually happened 2 times in my acting career. It was one of those times where we're set to perform, and when you perform, they tell you to focus on something in the audience, right? Not a person, just focus and see that wall, focus on that, and you will push yourself through the show, right? So we're in Lake Charles, Louisiana. This is what, maybe 2010, 9 or 10, 2010 maybe, 11 maybe, 2010. And we run out on stage, and when I tell you that it was like 4, maybe 10 people at most in that audience, I said to myself, well, how are we gonna blow off of that? Nobody's seen us. We have no exposure, no promo, no nothing. How are we going to blow from that? This is the thoughts that were running in my mind as I was doing the show. So I said, okay, it's not going to be this. Obviously, it's not going to be this. If only 10 people have seen it, then, how do you get to the point where somebody picks you up or you blow off of this project and nobody's seen it, right? So let me fast forward a little bit. So, growing up in this, industry, quote unquote industry, or just being an artist in Houston, Texas, I've always had affinity, which I'll get into in more depth, for promo, and I'm going to isolate it to myself, marketing, promo, and myself within myself. I believe that, if you have the know-it-all and the gumption is the word I think that Eli used in episode number 47, Stumbling Blocks, on my podcast. If you have the gumption to promote yourself, then what really is the need for an audience, right? My thinking, it's not, it's not the clearest of thoughts, right? And this almost leads back to my insecurity to be more vocal on the Clubhouse app outside of people I know, because people can tell if you know what you're talking about, right? And I only know what works best for me, what works best for John, right? I've seen some highs, some lows, but I know what works best for John Ross Dike I, right? But I say all that, and I'll get into it further in the last episode of the year. I say all that to say this. You need to buy a T-shirt, right? Because one thing I know for certain is that I drop the minimum of 4 podcasts a month, right? And I started thinking to myself, and I explained this to my wife. I said, listen, if I can generate revenue just off of podcasting, I'm talking about within the confines of the podcast. If I can generate revenue within the confines of the podcast, and it's because it's a certainty. If I can generate revenue, there goes extra income, or what they say, an extra source of income, right? And so I said to myself, well, the first venture I had, Visionary Movements LLC, with my man Mario Wanza, when I figured out how to press T-shirts, it was a gold mine. Every time I stepped out the door, I was selling shirts, to the point where I had to write it down. I was forgetting people's orders, and it was just me. There was no middleman. So I make the shirts because I had the equipment, or I was using the equipment at Wall Trip. I make the shirts, and I just sell them out the trunk of my car. So when I say I sell my shirts out the trunk of my car, that's literally what I do, right? And so, if I could start to generate income, right, while I'm chasing, not actively, but while I was chasing, or while I'm going to be chasing in 2021, that opportunity on TV, because I want to be on TV, right? If I can start to generate income, then I can let go of some of the income that's kind of holding the creative process back with my 9 to 5, right? And so what I mean by that is, you need to buy a shirt. You know what I'm saying? My Cash App is $ John Ross Dike, which you can see in my handles. My Cash App is $ John Ross Dike, my government name, my rap name, my stage name, my real name, right? But you need to buy a T-shirt. And not only buy a T-shirt, you need to buy a T-shirt for others. And, when your T-shirt, kind of, depending on the quality, gives out, you need to buy another one and another one, right? They're very reasonably priced, and you need to buy a T-shirt, right? That is how I begin to, ascend, make money in the podcast, right? And the reason why I say that is because, you buy a T-shirt, you're not only, you're just wearing what I wear. I don't wear nothing else. Forget polo, forget, I dare not get no Gucci, Louis, and all of that. My wife loved that. Well, she doesn't love it, but she rocks that stuff. I don't rock that. I don't want to rock Gucci, Louis. I want to be better than Gucci, Louis. You know what I'm saying? So, buy a T-shirt. Buy a T-shirt. You know what I'm saying? Buy a T-shirt. I sell them out the trunk of my car. All you got to do is holler at me. Yo, John, I need one. JR, I need one. Here's a cash app. Where can I cash app you? $ John Ross Dike. Get a What's Next podcast T-shirt. I might start doing the shirts like I used to. In I think I was doing that episode 40 or so. I was doing the vinyl podcast T-shirts, so I might bring those back a little bit. But yeah, I think you need to buy a T-shirt. Stop playing. You know, this is how I feed my family. I'm lying, but this is how I want to feed my family. So support black business. Buy a T-shirt. Rock with me, man. Buy a T-shirt when you can. You know, yeah, man. Episode 94. The countdown to the last episode of the year, which I'm dropping on New Year's Day at noon. Right. Today is December the 7th. December the 7th, 2020. And we have 24 days till New Year's Eve. But 24 days till the ball drops. And I have aggressively started getting into that book for the real estate program I'm in, trying to wrap that program because, you know, I don't want to go into 2021 not a licensed realtor. That's a part of my next few steps to be able to, you know, start to untie that double knotted rope, right? That double knotted rope for all those that get that to this job of mine, right? And so I've aggressively started. I didn't pass the first practice exam I did today, but the second one I took, I passed. So that's looking up, you know, 40 questions, and they'll probably do 30 on the test like they did last time. So all I got to do is make 21 questions right. I make 21 questions right, and I pass the state portion. So with 24 days left till the ball drops, and really 12 days, 15 days. Today's the 7th. I take the test on the 22nd. 15 days before I take my exam. I'm focused on that, as well as planning for my promo video I'm dropping on the 31st, the last episode of the year. The last episode of the year is entitled Every Tuesday. And I'll explain with a visual. And like I said on my Instagram the other day, I found my purpose. And I'll explain that too in the last episode of the year, man. So I look to, even in the last episode, I look to crack out the gifts that I bought myself for the podcast, and, you know, through hard work and dedication, I hope to make it. You know what I'm saying? I hope to not have many more episodes like this before the last episode of the year, but if it happens, it happens. And I'll get on here with a clear state of mind, might even get on a live like I did. I'll get on a live and I'll shoot the shit with you. But you already know what time it is, man. Listen, what's next for me? What's next for me is securing the remaining 6 episodes, if it may be, 5 episodes, if it may be, until the last episode of 5 episodes until the last episode of the year, which hopefully will be the 100th. But if it's not, if it's the 95th, if it's the 99th or the 98th edition, then so be it. But securing those guests, putting them in line, recording them, and further diving into this merchandising thing, seeing what people are doing, the strategies that they're taking, their inspos, their inspirations to creating merch, right? Because I know for me, it's one of those things where, you know, hold on, let me see if I can find the lyric. Let me see if I can find the lyric right quick. Let me see if I can find the lyric. Let me see if I can find the lyric. Here we go. Okay. I might have to buy the album, but I have it at home right quick. Hold on, let's see. Here we go. Let me see. Here we go. Artist. Search. Let me see. I think you know where I'm about to go. No. Let's see. Here we go. Hold on. Let me see if I can fast forward. Let me look at the lyrics, because I don't know the timestamp, because of course I wasn't prepared. Here we go. Second verse. Second verse. Where are we? Here we go. It's the second verse. Let's see where we are. Here it goes.
One rhyme could beat that, and if somebody would have told him that hoe would sell clothing.
Right there. When I heard that line, I was just like, I can do it. You need a brand. And I willed my way to it. So, what's next for me, man, is securing these people, these guests, these creatives to come on. And I want to talk about that before we wrap the year off. And even if I can get some new people in 2021 to come on and talk about their experience with selling clothing, then I'm all for it, because I think that's the next step for me. I'm not trying to shoot for the stars. I'm trying to count my steps before I get to that point, because I know 2021 will be a big year for me. It will be a huge year for me in terms of this entertainment business. Looking at aspects of, finally getting an agent and stuff like that. So I'm going to, in the meantime, I could try to generate a second line of revenue with my podcast and selling merch. And it's all up to you. Y'all rock with me, man. Listen, this is episode number 94 of the What's Next podcast. Buy a T-shirt, right? My name is John Ross Dike II. Listen, you need to buy a T-shirt, stillvisionary.com. The road to 100 episodes, or the last episode of the year. Follow me on Instagram, the What's Next Pod _ John Ross Dike is still _ visionary, stillvisionary.com. I do what I do for myself to prove that I can do it for others. Peace and blessings.
Yo, it feel like 95. Sachi on my body. All that ballin' is a hobby, and I'm wildin' in my wallies and them valleys, no Pilates. More way get you more wet. Nah, that's these Pilates. I crystal y'all with that. I saw the sign like Ace of Spades. That Ace of Spades get cracked me like cheers to the money guy. The really nigga who buy them bottles and then they spill these liquors. Yo, salute my dude. I see you, dog. 5 bottles, 1 dick. Why I need 2 bras? I know I'm out of line, but love is shower time. You know it rose rain when your cloud is 9. Get off that high. This a private party. Been on my dick too long. Your breath on private party. You gon' be nice or naughty. These walls on priceless Audi. This the upper crust. Fuck us up.